and it still includes the beginning of the power chord. But what you do is you take that same C and G, right, on your left hand, and you combine that. You play the octave of your key note. So if you're playing a C major chord, your key note is C. If you're playing an F major chord, your key note is F. The key note is the name of the chord to make it simple. So C, G, you just add another C. So when you're playing the C major chord, you go. And a lot of times, the difference in timing makes all the difference. So a lot of times, I'll bring in my left hand earlier than my right hand. So when you're talking about C, G, C, well, try not bringing in your major chord until you hit that final C on your left hand. So let's say you're going C. See how we just changed it? I mean, isn't that better than going? See? And so when people first start off, it's something simple, but you just don't realize that you can go. And that's a ballad type thing. I'm just going down the scale backwards. But realize that you can go 1, 5, 1. That's C, G, and C. And in F, it's F, C, F. B flat. So it's the 1 of the key, the 5, and the octave 1. So if you're not doing that at a minimal, that's something to start doing right away. So 1, 5, and 1. And that's still kind of like a power chord, but you're just kind of doubling up your outline, your bottom and your highest note. So now we can move on to arpeggios. When you hear the term arpeggio, and I first learned it way back when I was playing the clarinet, arpeggio is breaking up a chord one note after the other. So if you have a 3-finger chord, and you can do this on your right hand and your left hand, this is basically breaking each one of them up. So previously, I was describing it more like this. I mean, C, G, and C all together. So try that. See, that's one way to play it, and that just makes a more full sound. But you can also, excuse me, so say you have C, G, and C on your left hand, and on your right hand, you want to play C, E, G. But I like to, I don't know, I'm obsessed with that 9. I love to put a 9 in there. 9 is basically like the 2. So you can, if you want your chords to sound, pretty and beyond the basic, you can always put a 2 in your chord. So you can go C, D, E, and then G. So the only difference is that you're putting a D in there. And you continue it. So you go in the key of D flat. So it's kind of like you're spinning each chord, each note of the chord, and as you get better and better, you can do it even faster. So it's basically that 1, 5, 1 on the left hand. That doesn't change. That, at least for this example, it stays the same, and you just break up each note of the chord. One of my favorite things to do, so you can go. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm playing the 1, the 5, and then I'm adding something to it, and I'll get to that more in depth, but I'm going 1, 5, major 7. So, and usually that depends on what you're playing in your right hand. So if your right hand is playing a major 7 chord, then you can actually complement it in your left hand by playing the 1, 5, and the major 7. So that particular example happened to be C, G, and B. Okay, so first of all, we got our power chords. Those are just 2-finger chords. Those are like dyads. They're not even triads. They're just 2-finger chords. Learn them. There's the 1 and the 5 of every key. And then you have the 1, 5, 1. So that's when you basically play C, G, and C, like this, or like this. And you got to have a little common sense, too, because if you're playing on a shorter keyboard and as you get lower, it sounds really muddy. You got to bring up your left hand a lot to make it sound the way you want it to sound. Now, this is more the part I'm going to focus on, alternatives to basic chord arrangements or power chord arrangements. There's a number of things I'm going to cover that you could do in your left hand. We've already covered the 1-5-1. I'm going to cover the 1-5-7, the 1-5 flat 7, and then we'll move into tritones. Before I do that, I know I haven't covered much. I just kind of did the power chords and the extended power chords, but